What's going on, everybody? Freight's back again. We're back with CQ&A episode 17. So stay locked in because we got some good questions and comments. Thanks for watching. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about a business management software that's been tailored for trucking by owner operator Prime, OTR on the revenue. If you guys are a lease op, owner op, especially with Prime in the trucking industry, you want to check out OTR today, guys. This thing is going to keep track of your loads, your revenue, your fuel, everything, tax deductions, expenses, the whole 9 yards. Don't forget to put Freight Skater in the referral section, get you a free 30-day free trial, which is $15 a month after that. Check it out today. All right, we're going to go ahead and kick it off here from the last CQ&A, episode 16. We've got a question. Jeremy Griggs says, why don't you tell people it's suicide to lease in this market? It's suicide to lease in this market. Are you happy, Jeremy? Because it's not, guys. To be honest with you, you're going to have a risk, a certain level of risk with whatever you do in trucking. The trucking market is always on the move. It's always changing. The industry's ever changing. Guys, nothing is ever set in stone. Don't think for 1 second I'm promising you you're going to make millions coming to Prime, because you're probably not, okay? And trucking's not for everybody. It's not set up for everybody, okay? Even though the industry is trying to make it easier for everybody to come be a truck driver, it's not for everybody, okay? So if you like being away from home 168 hours a week and possibly making less than minimum wage, yeah, that's trucking, okay? And some weeks are better than others. Some weeks are fantastic. Some weeks are okay. Some weeks are just terrible, and it could be completely out of your control. That's anywhere. Same thing with company drivers. If you're going to be a company driver, your truck breaks down and you're stuck for 4 or 5 days and you don't have a minimum guarantee, you're not moving, you're not making money. It doesn't matter what company you go to, there's always some risk, okay? And I've seen guys say, screw leasing, go buy your own truck. If you've got 10, 15, 20 grand to go ahead and go to a dealership and you've got that kind of good credit, personal or business credit, and you can finance a truck and you want to take that leap of faith, because that's the total risk, guys, is going full on owner operator. That's the major risk right there. So leasing with Prime, there's a protection net there. There's a level of protection there with Prime, guys. They obviously, if you're not successful, they're not successful. Everything's not going to go your way. Doesn't matter what company you go to. I'm not out here promising you golden riches from the get-go, but if you're interested in trucking and you're interested in possibly owning your own truck one day, Prime, I feel, is the best place to do that. Come in, get your training done, go lease right out the gate. There's plenty of information. They have classes set up to help educate you. There's channels like this one that will help you, and tons of drivers at Prime that are willing to take the time out of their day to give you some answers and give you some insight on what you may be looking for. If you are curious about the person that's giving you that advice, ask them what they're making average for the last 8 weeks. Tell them to show you some statements. So that'll give you an insight on what they're doing. And if they won't show you, then obviously they've got something to hide. So you might not want to be talking to that person. So, which goes along with our next comment. So Jeremy, thanks for your question, man, but I don't think that I don't think it's suicide to come lease in this market right now. Okay, and this came from our end of lease with, and I usually save these for last, but it's just kind of rolled into this really good. This our next comment came from our end of lease video with Tonk, where we made over $1 million with Prime Inc. with Tonka truck. Joseph Clark 2827 says, another lying truck driver. Oh my God. What do you think I did, Joseph? You think I just like spent 24 hours not spending time with my wife, taking all my numbers, breaking them all down for you guys and putting them on video just to lie about it? Like, really? If you think somebody has that much time out here on the road, especially a team truck, a team driver has that much time out on the road to do something like that and falsify all those numbers and put them out there, number one, you obviously didn't watch the video. Number two, even if I showed you my statements, you wouldn't care. You would still say I photoshopped them or I fabricated them. That's why these videos are for people that actually want truth and they want actual numbers to go by. Guys, everybody's like experience at Prime or any company is going to be different. It's never going to be the same. Don't ever think it will be. So Joseph, thanks for your comment. I hate you don't believe me, buddy, but it's your loss. It's not mine. So we're moving on to the next one here. I've got from the Peterbilt 2023 review when we had Kryptonite. This is Real D Cruz 3558. He says, isn't the maintenance cost higher with a PETE? Well, Real D Cruz, I can tell you this. I know the PMs are right off the bat. And it just depends on other stuff too. Usually when you start talking about tires and stuff, it's usually the same as any truck with Prime. But there does seem to be some upkick in the price of things with the Peterbilt. I know windshields are a little bit more expensive. Your PMs are a little bit more expensive. And guys, it's really about...
if you go to Peterbilt, the PMs double.
Yeah, if you go to Peterbilt, the PMs could double. So, I mean, we called around, because I was like, me and my wife were like, hey, man, we want to just keep everything with Peterbilt, keep everything with the dealer, you know, so everything's on record, yada, yada. Screw that. I'm telling you guys. Those jokers were like anywhere from $800 to $1,200, depending on who you call, and they wanted to have a whole 24 hours to do a PM. I'm talking about an oil change,
get a hotel,
an oil change, 2 fuel filters, and chassis lube everything, and do like a 12-point, 20-point inspection or whatever it was to make sure everything was good. 24 hours? That's crazy. That's like me sitting down and just losing $2,000.
Exactly.
Just to spend $1,200. I mean, it's just nuts.
On a minimum.
It was ridiculous. So, yes, there are some things, Real D Cruz, that the maintenance is a little bit higher on. But guys, you gotta make sure to use your brains too. If it's something you can do, if you're a little bit mechanically inclined, I would suggest you do that. Save yourself a little bit of money. Now, Prime does offer these pro maintenance classes, guys. If you're a Prime, I encourage you to take those at least once a year, because that will give you an insight onto newer things that they've come up with, things they've added to the class, and it'll help you actually get in tune with your truck. So if you know your vehicle, you know your numbers, you're ahead of the game. That's what you want to do. Thank you, Real D Cruz, for your question, man. I really appreciate it. Let's move on to our final one, which is Scooter Sullivan 2068, and I did not crop out what video this was from, but Scooter says, hey, Freight Skater, I have a question for you because I do not work at Prime, but I am a flatbedder. This is off topic of this video. Why do they have lease op trainers pay the trainees? The low is a subcontractor and trainee is a W2 of Prime. I heard the benefit is you can bring more revenue to your truck because of running a team truck. I get that maybe on the second half of the 50K, but it would be a disservice to have a brand new trainee running a team truck. Any trainer that would be in a bunk while a trainee is driving should be smacked. I just say stop training, but there has to be a consequence from headquarters, because any sane lease op trainer would say, I'm done till you pay your employees. Well, and you guys, you can see you're going to have a mixture of things on this. Obviously, it benefits Prime if the contractor is paying the trainee. This is one thing that I have been against since day one, because the trainees have a guaranteed pay, the contractor does not. And I think personally, in my opinion, okay, guys, and I'm not talking bad about Prime. This is something that I actually pitched in the DAV group on one of my last meetings to Robert Lowe and some of the higher ups, was Prime should split the income provided to the trainee with the operator and split the liability. I feel like that would bring a lot more trust back into the trainers to come back to Prime to start training. That would put a lot more trainers back in the seat and put students in their trucks, and or give the trainer, the lease op trainer, a minimum guarantee of like $9K a week. No matter what, worst case scenario, if that truck doesn't break down, that trainer's available with a trainee, that truck's grossing $9K a week. At least you have something to back up on. Because I've heard some horror stories lately, guys, where when the market was kind of a little bit more rough, you know, last couple months, you got trainers saying, man, my trainee made more than me. I blacked out on the revenue this week. I actually had to go in the red because I had to pay my trainee, and that's just not cool, man. That's not right. But guys, my thing would be is if it's a risk and reward thing. The way Prime looks at it is you possibly have another driver on the truck to where you could increase revenue. And not all training trucks are running full team trucks right out the gate, guys. You guys got to understand, this is another thing that came up with a lot of owner operators. You'll hear them on the CBs talking about new drivers don't know anything. They train y'all for 30 days and then put you in your own truck, or 2 weeks, put you in your own trucks. Sometimes it's less. There's really no time requirement to actually your training out on the road. So my thought process is these older cats that have been driving since the 60s, 70s, and 80s, how did they learn? because there weren't many CDL schools out there. How they learned? They jumped in the tractor when they were 10, 11 years old, drove their daddy's tractor down the road, drove it on the farm. Like, where was the sense in that? To me, it makes more sense to go to a training school and get hands-on training with a certified instructor or trainer than it would be just to stick your keys in the cab and go drive around a farm or around town without a license just to get familiar with it. So to all the old cats out there that have the mentality, you might want to think about that a little bit.
And it's also the guys that have been here the longest that don't help new drivers get into the industry at all. It would be a lot better out here if these guys that had all these years of experience, if they were somewhere where they could help train. Like when we went to our
they would actually
school,
take the time and actually practice what they preach.
Yeah, when we went to our tech school, we were trained by shout out to Ray Dunn, but he had like 30
Mr. Ray, if you're watching this, she just gave you a shout out.
He had like 30 years experience driving a truck. He's been driving his whole life. So what he taught us, like, it was hands-on, years of experience. Not somebody that had only been in a truck 6 months teaching somebody else.
Right.
So.
And you gotta think too, it comes down to the mentality of that person. Like, seriously, like, people said I couldn't train. I started training at 9 months. I mean, right before my 9-month mark with Prime. And everybody said, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Oh, there's no way you can train. No, yes you can. But if you have the mentality and the common sense locked in, like I felt I did, I had no worries. Of course there were concerns. It wasn't like I just like sat in the bunk the first night of my training, my first trainee, you know, because I PSD'd and TNT'd when I first started. But I didn't just sit in the bunk and be like, hey man, whatever, you passed your PSD, passed your CDL, you should know this by now, see you later, I'm going to bed for 10 hours. No, that's not how it works. Guys, it's all a work in progress. It always is. Every person is different. Every person learns different. Every person has a different technique that they're going to want to use and a different technique they respond to. It's all about being open-minded. That's everything I can tell you about the trucking industry, is stay open-minded. The day you have a closed-minded view on things, just like this is the way it is, and I just believe that there's no flexibility, it's always black and white, there's no gray, guys, you're going to hurt yourself or somebody else, I promise you. Keep an open mind in all aspects, whether it comes to training, whether it comes to the trucks, whether it comes to the companies. Keep an open mind, okay? Guys, you can't sit there and just make a blanket statement that all trainers that haven't been in the industry for 30 years can't train. Well, I mean, they shouldn't be training. I mean, it's just crazy.
There's managers of business that work their way up within 6 months. Their management, now they're training people below them. I mean,
my son in the Navy, you know, he's been in there almost 4 years now, and he's like, Dad, there's people younger than me that are in charge of me. And that's, you know, and yeah, he doesn't like it, but hey, that's what it is. Obviously, the guy's there for a reason. He worked his way up really quick, and I don't know what it is.
The thing is you're not teaching a special ability. You're teaching how to do paperwork. You're teaching, I mean, just basic stuff. You don't have to have some sort of master's degree to drive these trucks. They're newer and everything.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
for everybody to turn around and act like you need a special skill.
Yeah, this ain't your grandpappy's twin stick. So
exactly,
I mean, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean.
We should know. Hey, if anybody's driving a twin stick watching this, more power to you. Those are some badass trucks.
Hey, I don't think I could do something like that. I struggled with a 13 speed, but I mean, people are acting like this. It's just so hard to do. It's not horrible to have someone with 9 months experience teach someone else what they know.
Right.
They know. They've been out here 9 months. They know how to do the paperwork. They know how to drive that truck. They know. And if they didn't know how to drive or do the paperwork things, they'd never even made it through qualify for Prime to train.
Right.
They'd be like, you don't even know what you're doing. We're not going to let you teach someone else.
Exactly.
But in a perfect world, it would be great to have people with 20 plus years experience out here training people.
Yeah, it would.
It's just nobody wants to do that.
The problem is when you get 20 plus years experience, you really don't have time for the BS anymore, and you want to be by yourself. So, exactly. I mean, that's understandable. So you got a lot of critics, you got a lot of chiefs, you got a lot of engines, but not many chiefs to help out. So anyways, guys, that's it for today's CQ&A. This is episode 17. Thank you so much for your questions and comments, no matter how crazy or how logical they may seem. I appreciate all of them, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments below about either one of these questions or comments, and we'll touch base on you on the next one. Look out for CQ&A F18 coming up. Thanks for watching. God bless. Stay safe. Freight Skater out.